It's funny, sometimes the simplest children's stories are the ones that hold the most profound lessons. They have this amazing way of helping us understand really big feelings, sometimes before we even have the right words for them. And today, we're diving into a story that does exactly that, teaching resilience through, of all things, the simple act of growing a tomato plant.
So, at first glance, The Giving Seed just looks like this beautiful story and activity book for kids. It tells a really gentle story about a girl and her garden, but when you look a little closer, you realize it's so much more than that. It's actually a carefully crafted tool for understanding how we grow, well, not just plants, but hope itself.
And this quote right here, which comes at a really pivotal moment in the story, is the absolute heart of the entire lesson. It's such a simple but powerful idea that real growth isn't about some perfect, uninterrupted journey. Nope, it's all about how we respond when things break.
To really get the power of that message, we need to meet the story's main character, Rosie, and kind of follow along on her journey.
So we first meet Rosie, and she's in a pretty tough spot. She lives in a cave, and she's hungry. And the world all around her, especially the farmer's market, is just overflowing with abundance. But it all feels completely out of reach for her. This sets up her core problem, which isn't just about hunger. It's about feeling like you don't belong.
Okay, so Rosie asks for a single tomato. And she could have just been given charity, a meal for one day. But instead, a shop owner named David makes her a totally different kind of offer. He gives her a tomato for today, sure, but also seeds and a job, promising to teach her how to grow her own. This is such a key moment, right? The story pivots from just charity to actual empowerment.
And that's where Rosie's real journey begins. She learns the slow, steady work of farming. She plants her seeds, waters them, and checks on them every single day. This part of the story just beautifully illustrates that theme of patience. The idea that good things really do require consistent care and, well, time.
So, it's a lovely story of patience and reward, right? Seems simple enough. But here's where we pull back the curtain. What if this narrative arc isn't accidental? What if it's actually following a very specific psychological blueprint for how we humans build resilience?
Because that is exactly what's happening here. The story is built on a framework known as the TAM formulation system, and it basically acts as this invisible engine driving Rosie's entire journey from start to finish.
So what even is this TAM system? Well, think of it like a roadmap for how we deal with challenges. It's kind of like the hero's journey, but for our own everyday lives. It breaks our journey down into 4 stages: facing a problem, learning a new way to cope, hitting a roadblock, and then finally overcoming it to feel capable and connected.
It all happens in 4 distinct sequences. First, there's a trigger, the thing that kicks it all off. Then comes adaptation, that new skill we learn. After that, there's always a cost, a moment where our new skill gets put to the test. And finally, if we manage to push through, we reach mastery. And this isn't just for kids' stories. It's the same cycle we all go through when we learn something new.
Okay, now let's see how perfectly Rosie's story maps onto this 4-part structure. It's just a perfect case study in action.
Let's break it down. Rosie's hunger and having no money, that's the trigger, the initial problem. David teaching her how to farm, that's her adaptation. It's her new coping skill. She's learning to provide for herself, not just get a handout.
Then comes the hardest part. Just as her plants are finally growing, a goat gets in and tramples her garden. And Rosie is just devastated. She says, "I did everything right." This is the cost sequence. It's that critical, gut-punch moment that teaches us that sometimes, even with our absolute best efforts, things still go wrong.
And this brings us to that final stage. Instead of giving up, Rosie and David work together. They repair the fence and they save the plants they can. And then she brings her harvest to the market and successfully sells it. This is mastery. She didn't just grow tomatoes. She overcame a huge setback, she proved her new skill, and she finally earned her place in the community.
So we see the story has this hidden psychological structure. But The Giving Seed doesn't just tell a story, it gives children a chance to really interact with these ideas through a workbook that's built right in. Look, the creators of this book, they knew that just hearing a story isn't always enough. To truly let these lessons about patience, repair, and hope sink in, kids need to interact with them. So the book really seamlessly weaves in these simple, reflective activities. Take this activity, for example, from seed to tomato. By having kids put the stages of growth in the right order, they learn that growth is a patient, step-by-step process. It's this really hands-on way to understand that good things take time.
And this brings us right back to what I think is the most important lesson coded into this book. It's the idea that true strength isn't about avoiding damage. It's about learning how to repair it. So here's the crucial point. The book deliberately introduces a moment of failure. That goat trampling the garden is there to teach a fundamental truth about life. You can do everything perfectly and you can still face setbacks. And that is such a vital lesson in resilience.
And this activity just brilliantly illustrates how to process that lesson. Right after the garden disaster, it asks, what can still be saved? It encourages the child to color in the plants that can still be cared for. It's such a smart move. It shifts the focus from what was lost to what remains. That's a direct exercise in finding hope and taking action right after disappointment.
So ultimately, the book makes a few core promises to its young readers. It helps them understand that, yeah, hard things happen. It helps them see that care and patience are powerful. And, most importantly, it helps them learn that fixing things and trying again, well, that's the very essence of growing.
So when you put it all together, you see that The Giving Seed is way more than just a story. It's a conversation starter. It's a tool for emotional learning, all wrapped up in this simple little tale about a girl and her garden.
And the book even equips the adults in the room. This parent note provides these simple, open-ended questions to help keep the conversation going. Questions like, what did Rosie do when something went wrong? Or what is something in your own life that needs care and patience? It takes the lessons of the TAM system and helps bring them into a child's real world.
So it really leaves us with a fascinating question to chew on. The Giving Seed uses a psychological framework to teach resilience. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other powerful lessons, what other invisible engines are quietly humming away inside the stories we all grew up with?